there. I am finishing up some 2014 projects, and you have seen me create the Crazy Island Family KIF letter journals. I was in 4 letter journal swaps, and they've all returned to me, and I have already done, isn't that neat? That's Gina's page. Letha did this page, her and her daughter. I just really love this one. But you've seen me do walkthroughs of these. I made a baggie book following Martina Hupertova's video to hold these. I got 1, 2. I've got the envelopes, some of the envelopes that they came in. Some of the things that I was using, some Happy Mail that came back with them. This one was all Wisconsin themed. Tibby did that one. Thank you, Tibbs. And they fit quite nice into my little baggie book holder that I made. I have to say, I think this one is my favorite. Not because of because of the art, but also because of the cover. I have a little tag from that store in Spring Green that matches the cover. This one just came out for me. I really liked it. So you saw me do a flip through of this, but what you didn't see me do was this. Every time I completed a swap that I was working on, or a swap page, I took it to the copy shop and made copies of the pages. Not just mine, but of everybody's that were in there. And I was in 4 swaps. Here I have approximately 100 pages, I think I counted. So what I want to do is a flip through. What I did is I made a copy of each page. This cover I did from a shopping bag that I got it Tuesday morning. Paid about $2.50 for this shopping bag, or it's just a bag. It's not really, I call it a shopping bag, but it's a bag. But it's got postmarks on it, and I thought, how neat for a letter journal cover. And so I cut these 8.5 by 8.5 pages. I used not a bookbinder, but I did the Coptic stitch here with a red thread, kind of a yarn type thread that I have, but I think it's strong enough and it's tied into, knotted into each other, and it makes a nice binding. And then I have the front here and the back here. Now, while I'm doing these, I'm going to have to cover some of the pages because they have addresses on them, and I don't want to show the addresses. So I might have to do that as I go along. I guess that's good. This is the cover. I did this with of course, this page cut out of this shopping bag and my fine liner with both black and white, and then I put glossy accents on it just to kind of emboss it a little. And put my name here, and it says 2014 letter journal pages. So I have a page here that I'm going to document this on and put the names of the people who contributed to these letter journals. They didn't sign all the pages, and I didn't make an attempt to sign the page for them. So this is a good reason to sign your pages so that your art can be acknowledged. This is the cover of my first letter journal. It's not my first one. It's the first one in this book. It was Wisconsin themed, and this was my cover. And then the pages, I did them 2 sides, so there's one double page here and one double page there. So this was 1, 2 here. Because I think I took a copy of this before I sent it off. I'm not going to talk about all the pages because I would be here forever. I'm just going to do a flip through and you can look at them. I will say I think everyone's received their letter journals back, possibly with the exception of Deb. So Deb, if you're in my swap, and if you haven't gotten your letter journal back, and if you don't want to risk seeing some of the pages that were done for you, I would say click off now and come view this video later if you want to see this particular journal that I did. These were pages that were done before I sent it off, and I just took copies of them. I'm just going to kind of flip through. Like I said, I don't want to spend too much time talking about them. I just want to show you the 100 pages that I got out of this besides my letter journals themselves. This was my letter journal. I did a Wisconsin theme. I think I said that. I'm going to have to cover the page here because there's addresses on this side, but I think this journal went to Gina. Nadine sent to me, and she had this beautiful art on an envelope, and so I redid Gina's front cover with Nadine's art. And I'm not sure who did this page. Oh, it is signed. I can't read it. You know who did it. And not all these pages were worked on. This may have just been a background page when I got it, but I liked it, so I took a copy of it anyway. This was done at a color copier at the FedEx copy shop. And this is a copy of the letter that I wrote in Gina's letter journal. Kind of nice to have this a copy for myself. And these are pages that I did in Gina's letter journal. They're really kind of dark here. This page was an acetate page that flipped between the two. So you're just seeing the black lines that I did on that clear acetate that flipped back and forth. Got some addresses coming up here. I don't mind the name showing. I think this was from Nadine's letter journal. Yeah, and it came to me. I really like how she put a map in there. I was always going to do that, but I never did. And I know Nadine did this one. This just says Nadine all over the place. This was the letter that I wrote in Nadine's. And when I say letter, I mean letter art journaling. Okay, this one I did in Nadine's letter journal. Now, how much you're seeing of it? I guess you're getting a pretty good view of it. And this was address form that I did. What use is a book, thought Alice, without pictures or conversations? I thought that was a perfect quote for a letter art journal. Got some addresses coming up here. This is just another one of Nadine's maps. I think I made two. Not on purpose. I did one copy just to see how the color copier was going to work, and obviously I started with that page, so I got two of them. And this was the front cover of my letter art journal. And this is inside it. And I put a hello note and some tags. And this was my dragonfly page. Some more addresses. Now, I did not do copies of the letter journals as they came back to me. So I have art in here that's been completed that's not in here. I like this page. Letha did this one. Letha, I just really like this page. I like that big old elephant, and it's got some collaging going on. It looks like a stamp, postage stamp there, and the important thing is to stop questioning. Really like that page. Here's some more. This is another letter that I wrote to Gina. I think I did this one in Gina's art journal. These flowers. And I'm not sure who got this one. This one is one of my favorites. It's got a dress form here. And this was an actual man. I think he was leaning on a golf club, but I cut him out and painted him black and put him leaning against the storefront and put the quote, "If men like shopping, they would call it research." And then I happened to find this old storefront picture of, you know, how in the old days they'd stand in front of the storefront. And I tore it in pieces and collaged it on here, and this is my dress form. And if you could look really close, you would see there would be tailored dress forms, and I think there's a ladies and a gentleman and a child as a rubber stamp. I had fun doing that page. I liked doing it a lot. I have addresses coming up here. This is from Tibby's art journal, and I'm sure this is all Tibbs art. It just says Tibbs all over. It's her style. Very colorful. A lot of contrast between the blacks and the colors. We go to the ends of the world for art. And then she has a world map with, we wrote where we were from on the map. Make sure that I don't have addresses on the next page. Isn't this pretty? I think this is Tibbs. I'm not sure who did this page. I think Tibbs did this. I don't know. It's not signed, but some of these pages got to me before we had the email come out that said, please sign your art. So some of this is unsigned because people just didn't know. This is a colorful page, kind of collaged. This was my page. I was just playing around with my hydrangea stamp. Made some lines in there. I will say I had about 4 art journals sitting on my desk at once, and as much as you want to get them done and passed along, that's really too much. And I have to say, I think my art might have been better if I wasn't trying to get them all done at once. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I look at it now and go, wow, why didn't I do something different? I could think of things that I could do on that page. So I think when I join letter journal swaps, I'm just going to maybe join 2 of them at once so that I don't get 4 letter art journals sitting on my desk. You know, join 2 and wait for those 2 to finish before I join 2 more. Or join 2, 1 finish, join 1 more. Having 4 art journals on your desk to do 3 or 4 pages in, or even 2 pages in, is too much pressure. I don't think you do the same, don't put the same heart into it, especially after you're on your 10th page. As much as I love art journaling. This one I did for Tibbs, and I like this one. This had already been started. This was kind of a flip page. It had an inclusion in the middle of it. The inclusion was an envelope right here. And so the V-I-N-T-A-G-E. So this part was, I believe, the flip. Or this was the flip. There's T-A-G-E. You'd almost have to see it in the art journal. I think I did a video of it. Now I was really happy with this. Was more of a collaboration page. I think Tibbs started it out and then I added to it. This is the same here. I think this is the back of it. It's a nice page. CRS. Christina, I think, did this one. And this is still Tibbs' art journal that we did pages in. She had a farmer's market page here, so I kind of used those same colors, bringing the yellow across. This page was the facing page to this. I did a lot of the hydrangea plants. I had an hydrangea stamp that I did in there. Got addresses coming up here. This one, I'd like to know how this one turned out, because this was the cover and it had red flowers on it, and I drew inspiration from those red flowers off of the scrapbook paper and did these, but they were very dimensional, and I used sticky paper and sticky glossy paint, and I think I put acetate over it. I think I did on this one. I can't remember. Or wax paper between it. I hope it found its home with no problems. And this one is one of them in the art journal that needed to be worked on. This was one that I did. I don't know whose art journal it was. Where's my black? More hydrangeas. I think I did 2 copies of that because I wanted one with, this was a tag, and there was a little pocket for that tag. So I did a copy of it outside of the pocket and a copy of it inside of the pocket. And this was a background page that hadn't been finished yet. I'm kind of peeking before I flip the page to make sure that I'm not showing addresses. I like the addresses being in here because at least they're getting credited. I don't see signatures on these pages. These are ones that I did. Flowers to brighten your day. I did my hydrangea stamps again. I had a lot of fun playing with that hydrangea stamp. And Beauty Surrounds You, and I did the dress form in several of the letter art journals. This one might have gone to Nadine or Christine, I can't remember. This was a colorful, this was Zentangle that I did over a painted page that somebody else did. And this was Gina's, one of Gina's pretty ladies. Yeah, got a address page coming up here. Butterfly. Letha did this one. And this is Danielle's art journal. That just says Danielle all over. Looks like Danielle's art, her style. And these are the pages that I did in her art journal. This one's kind of hard to see, but I do like I like how it turned out, and it is her colors. But I got this book out of a book that was talking about an orphan girl who is an older orphan girl, and the title of the chapter was A Chance at Last. And she was contemplating being adopted at her older age. So you see, she looks like she might be 14 or 15 there, maybe even 13, 12 or 13. And then this was some text from that same chapter where she was being advised to be cheerful and helpful and try to bring happiness into others' lives, and that would bring her success. It says, I believe you will succeed. I put that on a tag up here. And these were just some flowers that were done with Happy Mail that I received, but they're very much Danielle's colors, so I just went to it. Let's see, addresses? No, no addresses. There's that world map again. How many world maps did I do of this? This must be somebody else's book. Very similar map. Got another background page. This was another page that turned out nice. And I know I put acetate over this because I know I used glitter paint on this. And it was very sticky. And I knew that if I didn't protect it somehow, that it would glue itself together. So I put acetate on each page. And I sure hope it made it to its home fine. This was Carrie's book. I should email her and ask her if she's received her letter journal back. I hope she has, because I'm showing it. And this was a letter art journal that I did for, just kind of a small one that I did for Letha as a thank you. This kind of shows up as a green yellow, but this was really done in that gold color. The copier does not pick up the gold that well. And then I show more than one of the cover. Plant a garden. There are some gardening tags in there. And beauty will surround you. And then I did some extra pages for her out of a, and just sent them to her loose leaf out of a Dick Blick art catalog. That's a palette knife there with some paint on it. And then I tore some of the color listings off of the color charts and then wrote quotes from different artists on there. And of course, these are palette pans here. And a letter to her. And here's another color chart, and each one of these is an art quote. That's Degas and Edward Hopper. Well, this is Danny Kaye. But I like the quote, life is a blank canvas, and you need to throw all the paint at it you can. Bob Ross, we don't make mistakes, just happy accidents. And that's the end of it. It's another art journal, letter art journal. Should be about 4 of them in here. This was my poppy page. This one turned out nice in the original. I like it here too. And that color copier did not really do a terrific job of copying exact 8x8. So I used 8.5 black cardstock paper to mount these on, and then I just left the white around the corners. I thought that gave it some rough accents. And then that's a painted doily that I did, crocheted. Did that with my fine liner. And I did this one. I had fun doing that one. And there's a letter that I wrote to Farah. A little gal that I built from scraps. A little scrap flower that was sent to me. I think that flower came from Sigrid in some Happy Mail. I might have added to it. Another one of Gina's ladies. This was in somebody else's art journal that came my way, but I copied it because I liked it. I mean, I didn't copy it. I made a copy of it for this. And it's just fun to see these pages. Another letter journal here. I did this one. This was a graphic at the graphic fairy. I really like that. I pulled the quote, iron hand in a velvet glove. I thought that fit that picture very well. Got another. Some of these pages repeat just because I repeated them at the, how am I going to do this? I repeated them at the copier. So Deb, I think I'm getting into your letter art journal. So if you're watching this, and yours was the last one I worked on. So if you're watching this, and these are pages you worked on, so you're familiar with those. But if you don't want to see any more, click off now, because the only thing left is your pages. So It's up to you what you want to do. She pulled a Japanese theme or Chinese theme here. This page I did for her, and this page. I got that lady in the red gloves there, only this time I put the word create on it. What I liked about this page, somebody else had done some art on this page of a face, and I don't know if you can see it in here, but there's an eye and a nose and a mouth. This was really a collaborative page. And then I'd gotten a stamp of some paintbrushes and stamped around there and wrote the word create. Some more graphics from the Graphic Fairy here, and some Graphic 45 ballerinas from I was working on my December daily. So I just had some extra ballerina images, so I put them on there and wrote the word dolls, because there's a lot of dolls in there. And I'm peeking to make sure I don't show any addresses. It's a nice page. I don't see it signed. I did this one. The quote says, "My heart sings country music." The little Graphic Fairy angel there. I had hydrangea stamp and used my fine liner on it. Just playing around with the images. This one Danielle did. And here were the tags in the back of Deb's letter art journal. And I guess it's okay to show this. I did this part of the page. Deb had written a letter here, and so I did a stamp up here that says make art. It's got the paintbrushes, and then I wrote a little note down here and stamped it with ink pens. And then that's the back cover. So I really enjoyed the letter art journals. So not only did I get 4 letter art journals that I have in my baggy book here, I got this one as a memory too. So thank you for watching, and I've got some more flip-throughs that I'm going to do toward the end of the year here. I'm finishing up doing my binding on my other art journal that I did for 2014. It's kind of a mix between pages that I did in a swap for AFTCM and Crazy Island Family swap, and some pages that I did on my own. So I'm binding that with a Coptic stitch too, but with a different type of fiber here. I'm working on that now, so I'll do a flip through of that. And I have a couple of other things that I want to do end of the year flips. And then I put 2014 away so that I can start on 2015.